Welcome to Access Unlock the show. In studio, we have the one, the only Babu ex Omowale. Hello, welcome to the show, Babu.
Hey, greetings. Good to be here. How are you?
I'm doing fantabulous, and I'm actually better now that you are here. I want you to tell the people who you are. You're affiliated with the European Gun Club as well as the New Black Panther Party. Tell us about those two
Oh,
organizations.
right. I am the co-founder of the Huey P. Newton Gun Club. We are one of the first all black gun clubs in the country. We debuted it around August 20th, 2014. But we're not just an ordinary gun club. We are a civil rights, human rights based organization. So I founded that in 2014, and now I am the current chairman of the New Black Panther Party for self-defense.
Okay. So, what made you decide that a black gun club was needed?
Um, if we look around the country and we look around the world in general, white supremacy runs unchallenged. And in America, being a black man, all the adversity that we've faced since we've been in this country, uh, I just decided it was time that black people really took organizing themselves for self-defense seriously. In the past, we never had the means. We had shotguns and we had knives and 38s. But in this time, in this history, we have the equipment that we need to successfully defend ourselves and to successfully defend our communities against any type of white supremacist movement.
Okay. And with you being now the national chairman of the New Black Panther Party, before that, you were doing hard work as the chairman of Dallas organization. What made you want to become a revolutionary?
Uh, well, I don't consider myself a revolutionary, but I thank you for that. Uh, uh, a revolutionary is something that a person wouldn't call himself. The people give you that title based on the work you've done to enhance the lives of your people. Uh, I wanted to become a human rights activist at the time that I joined the organization, which was about 21 years ago. So I didn't have all the gray in the beard then. I was young and I was a strong bulldog. But it came to a conclusion that it was time for me to get out of the street mentality and do something progressive for our people. And it came after the murder of one of my friends, Alan Simpson, by the Dallas Police Department. Something in me just basically said, you know what? I mean, it's time to do something as a collective and not just be an individual who's always angry, but don't have the resources to bring about constructive change.
Okay. Do you believe that which oh my goodness. I was gonna say first I well actually two things. Let me change it up. How
Okay.
can we combat back on black crime, and how can we fight the police for beating us down?
Uh, we combat black on black crime by being knowledgeable of the source of that crime. Yeah, black people are always going to show their aggression and their anger and their displeasure against other black people. That's just been happening throughout history. We live together, and if there's, we live in the same communities. So if there's going to be any discretions or, it's going to come with another black person. Uh, but what we're dealing with now is systematic. It's just you have the record labels, the music industry that is has taken over by white people, and they're pushing poison over the airways. The lyrics are deadly. So what they're doing is they're building a thought process in our youngsters that we have to kill each other and shoot each other down, and they're doing that through music, and they're doing it through their movies and entertainment. So we as a people, we have to take back the consciousness of our people by having dialogues like the one that we're having today.
Okay. What do you think about the police brutality? Is it getting worse? Is it getting better with the cameras, or what do you think?
Um, the numbers are over the last 4 or 5 years have basically been the same. We have about 700 to 1,000 police murders every year. So I can't say that it is getting better, and those numbers are way too high. And these are disproportionately black people who live in a poor community. So we still say that it's systematic. We still say that the police will kill a black man or a man of color just because the color of his skin, because basically he feels that he can get away with it. There's going to be no opposition or repercussions.
When you talk about the police in the black communities, which I had these conversations with you in the past, do you think we'll ever get to a point where our people police our own people in our communities?
It's a good theory. It is a good ideology, but unless we get to a point where we form our own nation within a nation, where we own the politics that surround those communities, I don't see as how it's going to happen. I mean, it can happen on small scales when you have people. It happens on small scales now, as a matter of fact. When you have activists and controllers get out and they patrol their communities, whether they're walking on feet, whether they're riding in cars. So we have people that police the police. But as far as black communities taking the lead role in that, I don't see that happening while we are basically incorporated in America, and we live up under a system uh, that won't allow us to take control of our own communities. And I think the only remedy for that is for us to create our own country within a country. The states of Louisiana, Mississippi, Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama. If black people start to move to these 5 states, then we would take control of the politics. We would take control of the education system. We would take control of those states, even the National Guard. So we would have an army to defend it. So it's just all about migration. But in the state that we're in now, I don't see it. I don't see it happening.
Okay. I want to go back to where you kind of touched on the record labels, having their agenda and, pretty much feeding trash in our communities. What do you think about them feeding I'm gonna say the same sex relationships that's kind of canceling out us building families? Like you see every time you look at the TV, you see, man, man, woman, woman, or social media. What do you think about that?
Right. I think the music industry, the entertainment industry, even those who control the social media industry, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, all of these entities, uh, they have a common goal, and that goal is to make the LGBTQ community more acceptable to all people. When I'm saying acceptable, I don't think any human being cares what another human being does in their bedroom. That's your business. but they're sexualizing it to the point where they put it in the movies, and our children see that. They put it in the music, and our children listen to that. You know, it's in all circles of entertainment and social media. So they're subliminally brainwashing our children and other adults as well to be more acceptance of the gay community and maybe even be gay yourself. But
Mhm.
that's not my thing. I am a straight male, and I deal with straight women. I say to each his own, but that type of behavior, it leads to a downfall. It leads to population control. So if black men are not with black women, and I'm not talking about other races because that's not really my issue. My issue is with our own people. But if you don't have a black man and a black woman together, then you can't make a black child. And I think that's another way that they use the LGBT community is for population control as well.
Okay. You know, I'm going to ask this question, which just goes back into relationships, which we just kind of talked about the same sex relationships, but now I'm going to go into polyamory. You know, people love to have multiples in one household. What do you think about that?
Are you
Can
saying polyamory, polygamy?
you know when they have two wives, two husbands? I may not be
Right,
pronouncing.
right, right. I really have not explored that theory myself. Maybe in my younger days, it probably would have been a thought process because, I mean, hey, what man wouldn't enjoy the company of two women at his beck and call? But from what I understand, polygamy is more than just having women in the house. It is a responsibility that that man takes care of those women. He has a responsibility of making sure his children are provided for. So it's not just all the good things that will, the sexual content that will come with polygamy. It's about building a family and a family base as well. So I mean, if people believe in that, then I mean, spread your wings. But it's just not a concept that I particularly believe in, especially at the age that I am now. I mean, just one sister is enough for me. If
Okay.
you got the right one, I mean, one will do just fine.
Okay. What, and I want to stick on community. What type of tangible programs do you offer to the community?
Um, right now we have a adopt a family program that the new Black Panther Party is working on a national basis. Uh, and when we say adopt a family, we're talking about our food program. Uh, you have a lot of entities, churches, community centers. A lot of people feed people. They'll pull out the tables and people go across and get food in a line. That's not necessarily our perspective anymore. We want to be more consistent. So what we've chosen to do at the new Black Panther Party for self-defense is we adopt families, and we drop groceries off at those families' homes at least once per month. And our vision is to be with these families basically forever, or as long as they need us. And if it ever comes to a point where they don't need us anymore, then we will adopt another family. So that's the program that we're working in every city around the nation that the new Black Panther Party is based. That's the program that we have in common. I'm also in discussion with a few teachers and people within the new Black Panther Party to start a online literacy program. But you ask for tangible, you ask for something that's already in place. But our literacy program is really about to kick off and it's going to be up and coming. And we're targeting adults that may need help reading uh, because your ability to read affects your ability to comprehend what's going on in society. And we're also, having a date where we specifically do children's books and educating our children in Black history. And so we want to raise the literacy uh, of Black people in our communities. And I'm gonna end with this. If you go and you look at the statistics say that the Black communities per capita have the lowest literacy rate in the country. And I mean, this is something that anybody can do. It doesn't cost any money. So if you want to be a part of that, hopefully they'll be able to get in contact with me through your show. It's really about us uplifting us. There's so many ways that we can help each other. So we don't have to get fixated on is it just this way, or I just want to be part of this. Whatever it is that you want to do, you can do it through the new Black Panther Party.
What you just touched on, feeding people. Drop a little
Mhm.
bit of knowledge about the school lunch program. How did that get started?
Well, the lunch program started with the original Black Panther Party.
Hmm.
It was actually the breakfast program. And what the Panthers did is they did the research, and they found out that Black children were going to school hungry. And when you're hungry, you can't focus on your day-to-day activities. You can't focus on your studies. I'm sorry, had a phone call come in. Let me clear that. Okay, it's hard to just get through your day when you're hungry. So the original party in Oakland and eventually around the country started a free breakfast program where kids could stop by in the morning before school. They would feed them nourishing foods to keep their belly full through the day, and eventually the test scores started to rise. So what happened with that is the government saw how powerful this program was, and it was one of the reasons, unfortunately, because of their good work, it was one of the reasons that the original Black Panther Party was targeted. And here say today, the government has now taken on that same program and renamed it.
Okay. Thank you for answering that. Why just give me some of the top 10 things that the Black Panther Party stand on.
Top 10 things.
Yes, don't isn't it like a 10-point
Yeah, we
point?
have a 10-point platform.
Give us some of those 10
Uh,
points. You know
we
I
have,
know
well, I'll give you some of them, but I don't want to go through all of them because they're kind of
some
long
of
and
them.
detailed. So we have the 10-point program that we work from, and the 10-point program basically tells you what we want. And then we also have the 9 local objectives that we work from, and this is what we should be doing in our community. Exactly what we just spoke in. We want education for our people. We want education that exposes the true nature of our people. Basically, meaning that give us the truth. Let's go
Mhm.
all the way back through history and let's retell this story, but let's tell it truthfully. From everything that we understand from the time that we grew up, white folks invented everything. You know what I mean? And we know that is not the case. History is written that white folks are the conquerors, and this is not to bash white people because I have no interest in being a racist, but I just love Black people. Uh, we want our people to be exempt from military service. I'm talking about the 10-point platform, giving you examples of what's on it. We want people to be exempt from the military service. And what that means is exemption is why should we go and fight for you and fight across the world when we still have to come home and face
Right.
racism here in America? Point number 7, we want to end to police brutality in our communities. So these are some of the guidelines that we guide ourselves by in the 10-point program and the 9 local objectives.
I do actually like the 10-point program. And you just touched on the thing when it comes back to our history. Now they want to put, or they have put, I don't even know if it has changed, that slavery was like a voluntary service. You know, what is a non-paid intern, where they want to change the books and stuff. So we definitely need to keep the facts straight on history, you know, because there is people always just taking. But I'm with you too. This is not to bash anybody, but we want our history to be our history and the truth to be told. So I'm a
Yeah,
1,000% with that.
what you're talking about is this right wing movement in America to bring about what they call critical race theory. You know, they don't want to tell of the atrocities that they committed about black people. And what that does, if you start to eventually hide the history from people, people don't know what happened to them in the past. So they, you know, black people won't be, we would be more assimilated into their culture. You know,
Right.
what they're doing is they're removing the history, they're removing the atrocities. They don't want to talk about how one of the states is Florida. They don't want to talk about how they use black children as bait to hunt alligators in the state of
Hmm.
Florida. You know, they don't want us to know about that history. But unfortunate, the internet uh, documentation from slaves and some of our scholars has unleashed everything. They may not teach it in their schools, but it is our responsibility to have these dialogues and educate our own children. So, you know, if they want to enact critical race theory, it's white America, they're going to do what they do. But we, the people, and the parents and the community have to be the ones to undoctrinate and re-educate our children.
Right on. If you was if you had to pick one, who you picking? Would you pick Martin or would you pick Malcolm X? Who you picking and why? Martin
That's
Luther King, that is.
you know what? You said Martin. I'm thinking you saying Martin Lawrence. I'm saying, look, you know what? She trying to be funny. You
No.
know what I'm saying? But I don't split their sacrifice. They both gave the ultimate sacrifice. They both gave their lives. Uh, we needed both movements to bring us to the little bit of change that we've seen today.
Hmm.
But we needed the more non-aggressive movement by Martin, and we also needed the you know, we don't turn the other cheek movement by Malcolm X. They basically complemented each other. And what I'm meaning by that is you send the non-aggressive people in first. Let them try to come to an understanding and an agreement. And if that breaks down, if that, you know, line of discussion breaks down, then you send in the warriors. You know, you send in the more aggressive class of black men to deal with these issues, i.e., the Panthers, i.e., Malcolm X, i.e., Revolutionary Action Movement, Black Liberation Army. You know, these are some of the examples of the warriors during that time. But Martin understood that we just go out on an all-out attack, just 100% militant. A lot, millions of black people would have been murdered. So I believe that the chess game that Martin and Malcolm played with the white government, in the end, it cost them their lives, but it advanced the struggle of our people. And that's why we see some of the freedoms that we see today. We're not free. We're still living in captivity. We're still living in systematic oppression, but we don't have the same struggle that those brothers and sisters had during the 60s with the water hoses and the dogs and the mass lynchings that they had to deal with at that time. So I think both of those movements complement each other. I love Brother Malcolm as much as I love Brother Martin.
Great answer. Who are some of the historical figures you look up to and why?
Oh wow. Well, that could take a while because there's so many. Just to say it shortly, any man that dared to struggle, any woman that dared to struggle. I mean, going back from the times where slavery first started all the way up and until today. I have so many examples of heroes and sheroes. It wouldn't do me any justice to try to name everybody, but of course the Black Panther Party for their stance against police terrorism. Uh, of course, the Nation of Islam for their stance in black nationalism, and some of the men that fought in the wars, the 761st Tanker Unit, the original Black Panthers, where it all started at. The Tuskegee Airmen, Gasper Yanga, who was a rebel, rebelled against slavery, and they have a city in Mexico named after him now. There's just too many to name. Ida B. Wells, Fannie Lou Hamer, Harriet Tubman, uh, Queen Nzinga. I could just go on and on with that.
I know if Queen Nzinga, baby, sit down. She did her thing. But hey, on another note, when I say Botham Jean and Tatiana Jefferson, what comes to mind? What are your feelings?
Uh, uh, Both murdered in their homes. Uh, Both died when there was no reason for them to die. Both of them, John sitting in his living room. His door is cracked, and this pig, female pig, kicks in his door, says she assumes it's her house, and she shoots him sitting in the chair in his living room in his house. Very sad circumstances. She is doing prison time, but not nearly enough
Mm-hmm.
for the life that she took. Same circumstance with Tatiana, Breonna, so many others. Breonna's was a little different, but a Tatiana Jefferson at her own home. Again, her front door is open, so someone allegedly called for a welfare check to her residence. Uh, Police have started going to the front door and knocking on the door and finding out what's going on. Went into her backyard, saw her in the window playing with her nephew, and allegedly he also saw a gun, which was not in her hand, and he fired shots through the back window and he murdered her.
Mm-hmm.
And
Both
you
in
look at
Texas.
yeah, you look Fort Worth and Dallas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our version of the Twin Cities in Texas. But you look at both cases, neither one of them had to lose their life. There was no reason for either one of them to die. And in both cases, the pigs that committed the crime, and I use the term loosely, both of them have relatively short sentences and will be back in well, not population, but they'll be back in the world in less than 10 years. So not a lot of time taken from their lives for the murders that they committed. Interesting, you said it, Tatiana. I attended a one of the court hearings with the. So we got a Tatiana. I don't know how you could if you could see it or not.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay, okay. Uh, and I got that from attending one of her court hearings with the activists here in Fort Worth, who actually did the groundwork and brought attention to her case. So shout out to the human rights activists here in Fort Worth that dealt with that case.
Okay. Which I know the answer to this, but I need you to tell the people: is the Huey P. Newton Gun Club, I mean Huey P. Newton organization, or the Black Panther Party a religious organization?
No. We respect everybody's religion. Um, and historically, the new Black Panther Party was thought to be Muslim related or historically. Under my leadership, we're definitely changing that perspective. Religion has no place in our organization. And I'm saying in our organization, but as a man or a woman, we respect whatever religion that you are. Um, if you're a Hebrew Israelite, we respect that. If you are a Christian, we respect that. If you are a Muslim or a Kemetic, African spirituality, whatever it is that makes you a better person, we respect that. But when it comes to the organization, we don't discuss religion. And Brother Malcolm said this and taught us this. We don't discuss religion because it only keeps us separate and keeps us divided from our actual mission, because now we're arguing back and forth about a faith-based religion rather than dealing with the facts that's here in front of us. So we're respectful of every religion, but it's not part of the organizations that we're part of, neither the Huey P. Newton Gun Club or the Big Black Panther.
Okay. When you use the term Black Power, some people see that as being racist. Can you
Uh-huh.
explain what Black Power means to you?
Um, of course, white society has made Black Power a racist terminology in their viewpoint. And even some Black folks see it as some type of bigotry, when it comes to Black people. But Black Power is the total opposite. Black Power is just what it is. Black Power. How do we have power? Uh, by controlling our own economics, Ujama, collective economics, by pooling our resources. So now that we give our people some type of monetary value in this country, uh, everything is based on the dollar now. You got to go and get that bag. Every ethnic group has its own monetary system that they live under. The Chinese support the Chinese. The Italians support the Italians. The whites obviously support whites. So economic power is having our own warehouses, having our own satellites. We have to think bigger than just having a barbershop or a food place. I'm talking about true power. So that collective economics brings, that is Black economic power. When we say Black power, we're saying that we're in control and we teach our own history. We're saying that we have our own politicians and we control our own politicians. We have our own ideology of how a people should govern themselves rather than just being Democrats or Republican or being part of a capitalist society. So when we're saying Black power, only thing that we're saying is we want our own. We're not saying other people can't have the things that they want to have, but Black people have to start thinking on a more collective level to have our own interests and to be able to put our money behind that shit. You know? And that's what Black power means, to collectively have our own.
I like that. I like that. Great answer. You know what? I want to dive in a little bit of politics.
Hmm.
So, one of them would be the Capitol riot, right, from 2021.
Hmm.
If it was Black people doing that, do you think the response would be different?
Yeah, if it was Black people conducting that type of riot on January 6th, a lot of people would have been dead. Um, the government, either they was part of it or they held back on the aggression against those that committed the riot, the act of the riot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I mean, if it was black people, they would have shot us down by the hundreds.
Right
You know?
on.
So at the Capitol, maybe you have less than. Do we even have 50 people that lost their lives? I don't think so. But
Mm-mm.
had it been black people, it would have been an astronomical number, and we would still be in mourning behind that. You know, but here's the thing: black people wouldn't have did that shit anyway because it didn't make any common sense. You know,
Right.
yeah, I understand that you are voicing your anger, you know, but to go out and burst some windows out and talk about, you know, you're going to kidnap people and all that, you know, you just show how savage that you really are as a society.
Right on. Is voting important? Do you think voting is important?
I think voting is important for those that vote. And I myself, I vote on local politics, politics that affect my community, politics that affect my city, and even my state. The last time that I even cast a presidential vote was for Obama, his first time that he ran. But people struggled, and you know, we take for granted, man, that people actually gave their lives for the right for you to even have the voice and the right that you have today. And a lot of people believe in the vote. You know, my thing is, if you don't vote, then don't complain about what you get. You know, a lot of people don't believe in the vote because they say, regardless of how you vote, nothing changes. So it doesn't matter to me. I rock with you, whichever way, but I would never condemn people for voting. You know, there's such a strong opposition in the so-called conscious community that the vote ain't worth shit. And I understand how they feel, but at the same time, if you don't at least cast it, then you don't have any voice whatsoever. So you have to deal with it as it comes.
Okay. Brother Babu Amawali. So if people wish to contact you, what's the best way they should contact you?
Uh, they can get in contact with me at two ways. I'll give you both emails. NBPP, the number four, defense at gmail.com.
Okay.
NBPP, NBPP4, defense at gmail.com. Or they can get in contact with me at HPNGC 2014 at gmail.com. HPNGC, Huey P. Newton Gun Club 2014, the day was the year was founded. HPNGC 2014 at gmail.com.
Okay, I only have two more questions.
Okay.
What's the next? What you got coming up the next 3 months for the N New Black Panther Party? Anything we should be looking out
Yeah.
for?
We don't have anything just on a definite schedule right now. I'm not sure that you told the audience that I've only been the chairman for 90 days. So the party at this time is under reconstruction. We're kind of shedding everything down, analyzing some of the people we have. You know, when you take over something, you have to analyze the staff, see who you're dealing with. So we're in the phase of rebuilding and reorganizing the organizations so that we're better able to serve our people. So that's what we're doing. We don't have anything on the agenda right now other than political education, where we learn about all those great people, and you know, we learn to deal with politics, and you know, we learn how to govern ourselves. We have that twice a month as a organization nationwide, and you know, training, defensive training, whether that be martial arts, fighting with rocks, fighting with sticks, or using, you know, that old good black gunpowder. So we're becoming more educated, and at the same time, we're training to defend ourselves in our community while we rebuild the party.
Well, you know what? They have the right person for the job because you've been around for a long time doing your thing, helping the community. So I definitely have seen you work hard, and you know what? stand 10 toes down. I want you to leave us with some positive words before we go.
Oh, okay. You want me to get my Steve Harvey on? So,
Be better
uh,
than Steve now.
well, let me just say, Steve Harvey is a professional speaker, a professional performer. I am more of a militant. I'm not the talker. I don't provide a lot of wise wisdom. But
You just did.
what I can, well, I just provided you history. But what I can say is that we as Black people have to stand together on more issues. We have to stop dividing ourselves based on religion. We have to stop dividing ourselves based on entertainment. We have to stand together. That is the only way that we're going to be progressive, is to unify. We're not going to agree on everything, but we have to agree on something. Whether you African, whether you from the islands of Trinidad, you know, wherever in the world you are, we identify as Black people. And gonna have some pushback from that. I ain't black. I ain't black. Let me tell you, I have conversations with people from all over the world that have the same skin tone as me. They identify as a whole bunch of things, but when we look at our skin and I ask the question, what, where are we the same? And they say we're Black. And the world identifies us. When the world identifies us as being unified, they say Black people. So I don't know if that is a ethnicist, ethnicity, or what it is, but that's one thing that we have in unification is the skin that we wear. So I would say more than anything, we have to unify the masses of our people.
I thank you for the realness. I thank you for the motivation. I thank you for the history. I cannot wait for you to come back to Access Unlock the show. Brother Babu Omowale, Babu X Omowale, it is always a great pleasure to have you on, and I appreciate you.
All right, thank you for having me. Hope the remainder of your day is absolutely remarkable.
Thank you, and you have a blessed day as well. Blessings.